Welcome to day 223 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of December 2012, which was The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
So, in case you're unaware, okay, obviously this is a prequel. Okay, actually, hold on. The Hobbit book was written by J.R.R. Tolkien
Hmm,
before The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
that
I've
makes
heard
sense.
this
Yeah.
before.
And of course, they made the Lord of the Rings movies first, also by
hmm
Peter Jackson. He directed it. And so
hmm
you think, okay, so this is so, but then they made these movies after. So it kind of put them in an interesting situation where they and the movies, the Lord of the Rings movies, they did change a few things. They did emphasize a few things different, right?
Hmm.
So they're like, okay, we want to make a few changes, to the story in terms of the Hobbit to kind of link them to the Lord of the Rings movies. Okay.
Mm,
But there's more to, and that, like, you think, okay, that makes sense, right, in terms of what they're
yeah.
doing. But the thing is, there's actually a lot of weird stuff about the production of these movies, The Hobbit.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into a lot of details now, just because it kind of relates to more plot stuff that happens in the later movies.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
But I just want to say that the beginning, like, conversations about, like, having this happen started in, like, 2005.
Okay.
And there was pre-production work happening for, like, all the way to, like, 2009, 2010, but they didn't actually start, like, filming until, like, 2011. And
Mm,
the part of the problem for that, there was some, like, dispute over the rights or something in terms of the Tolkien's estate kind of wanted some things that are different. I'm not 100% sure on that, but one of the
Mm.
big things that was different is that Peter Jackson was not going to direct these originally.
oh,
It
Oh.
was originally going to be Guillermo del Toro.
oh,
And in fact, there were going to be two movies. The
oh.
original plan, from what I gather, is they were going to make The Hobbit, and then there was going to be a second movie that was kind of like a bridge between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings via some appendix and expanded, like, lore stuff found in expanded lore sources.
Okay.
Huh. That sounds kind of interesting and
The
stuff.
second that was changed a bit, though, to where it was still going to be two movies, but that those two things were going to be kind of connected. So the Hobbit story was going to be over two movies, but as well, stuff was going to be uh, added in terms of bridging it into Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
Mm.
Now, the decision to switch it to three movies happened after they'd already started, like, filming.
Oh.
Oh.
So just keep that in mind.
Okay. I
Um,
mean, I've heard some things about the length of the movies, but I guess we'll get into that after the second one,
or
perhaps.
yeah, so I just wanted to keep that in mind, and then if you have already seen these movies and you want to know more about this, Lindsay Ellis does a really good set of videos on the production hell that this kind of went through and the changes made. Um, she actually went to New Zealand and, like, interviewed people who directly worked on it, and, like, I think she
Oh.
interviewed at least a few of the actors who played some of the dwarves.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
So yeah, a lot of work for that, and it's really interesting. I don't remember everything in that, and again, a lot of it relates to stuff that happens in later movies. So if you haven't seen it yet, so you too, don't watch it. But if you have seen this already and you want to learn more about it, watch that because it's interesting. With all that in mind, I think this film is overall pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so too.
I like The Lord of the Rings more, but this still works for what I was.
We've said, like, time and time again, for the fact that we don't usually like it when there's narration over the movie and stuff, but I think here it's actually done pretty well. Like in
Yeah.
the beginning and stuff.
Oh yeah, with old Bilbo too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't really. Because when he's narrating the entire thing and stuff, it's not like a thing of it distracting you from like the movie and stuff. It almost sounds as if he is like doing like a storytelling section and like this is going through your imagination while he's telling you the story and everything.
It makes me wonder, because it feels like it might be like what is actually written in the book. I don't know. I haven't read the book, but that could be something that they did.
That would be pretty cool if that is the case.
But,
yeah, it would be.
Yeah, that was good. And then I just the character of Bilbo, actually, in terms of yourself, I like. He's not. Again, part of the thing with this is that this is the first of 3 movies, so we can't say too much about like character development and stuff. But I do at least like the setup for this, where they don't just do Frodo 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is definitely his own kind of person, and he has his own personality that's a bit different. So that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, starting off, I would say that I do like Bilbo better than I ever did with Frodo. Although we did see a little bit of normal Frodo in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And I was like, if only they showed a bit more of him like this and stuff, then maybe I would have felt more sympathy for everything.
Yeah. It's
Frodo in this film, it was kind of like, oh, okay, you're a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah, a normal nephew.
Yeah, and then it's interesting though, because like, for example, when I was watching this, visually this movie looks quite good, right? But I kept thinking like, this looks like Lord of the Rings. You're like, well, duh, that's like the point, right? But I'm like, well, no, but like in terms of the sets and like the quality of the visuals and stuff, it like looks like Lord of the Rings, and that makes me think like, damn, Lord of the Rings was really fucking good for its time.
Yeah.
Because I don't think this looks bad, right? It's not this looks as bad as 2002. It's that Lord of the Rings looks as good as 2012.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just like, oh shit. Because like,
it was ahead of its time.
I know. The one thing though that did notice in this movie was that like the orcs, like especially near the end, they are CGI. Like, it's still good CGI, but they are CGI compared to like, I'm thinking like at the end of Fellowship of the Ring where Boromir dies, like, and they're attacked by those orcs. Like, that's like costumes and makeup, right?
I think so, yeah.
So it's much more like, I can kind of feel a little bit of that disconnect because of that. So, because one of the problems with making this is like very clearly, this is like Lord of the Rings again, is that people are going to compare them to Lord of the Rings, and so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, damn, Lord of the Rings was so good that like, even though this is not bad, it kind of looks worse than it would be if it was just by itself. In comparison,
right? Just by proxy.
Yeah, so almost. I think that might be because I know there are some people who hate these movies, and I didn't remember in theaters. I thought they were fine. I still think this one's pretty decent, but I do feel like if this like came out first, I think people would like it more.
Oh, like if they actually went in order.
Yeah.
Why didn't they go in order?
There was something actually, and I was looking at the whole development section on the Wikipedia page for the Hobbit movies, and it's very long. But there was actually some reasoning as to why they went over Lord of the Rings first. I don't remember what it was.
Was it? I wonder if it was like maybe they planned to do the Hobbit first, but then there was some problems, so they were like, okay, we'll just like go to the next story that's like right after it.
Then what could be the problems?
I don't know. I know like the Hobbit is read in schools, but
okay.
I think that's a huge problem.
There was a problem with okay, so Peter Jackson did express interest to do the Hobbit in 1995.
Okay.
But the production company he was working with didn't have the rights, and there was a problem with the studio that did apparently have the rights to the distribution of The Hobbit.
Oh.
Hmm.
where like they weren't wanting to give up the rights for it, but like for some reason, I guess Lord of the Rings wasn't had by another studio. I don't know. It's
Hmm.
yeah. So there was
So
that
some
kind of
weird
issue.
politics going on.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you know, but yeah, I think this is um one of the problems that with this is like, remember how for Lord of the Rings there was a decent amount of quote unquote main characters, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
they worked with it pretty well because each movie kind of focused on different characters.
Yeah.
Like, Fellowship was very much about uh, Gandalf and Boromir, and Two Towers had a lot of Merry and Pippin. Return of the King, of course, had like Aragorn and Sam, and so
Sam, yeah.
it focused kind of that way. Where this, I feel like they're trying to do things similar, but it's a little bit weird because, like, okay, we have Bilbo, we have Gandalf, and we have Thorin as like clear like as quote unquote main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then everyone else is kind of just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the other 12 dwarves and everything.
I couldn't remember any of their names. I knew like there was the white bearded one,
Yeah.
and
I
like that's
knew
the only
about
other
the
one I could remember.
Twins also, but
Yeah.
otherwise it's just like I don't even remember all their names.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you have a bunch of actors that look very similar.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. It's like, I know that. Because the thing is, if they didn't, like, include all of the characters, like, people who were, like, really good fans of the story would get upset about that, right? But, like,
Yeah.
it is a problem when you have, 15 characters traveling together.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Because- If they're not distinct enough, like either with their appearance or like with their personalities, like I remember with Lord of the Rings, it was hard at first for me to get everyone's names, but they were at least different races, so that helped.
I feel like even if they had distinct personalities and looks and everything, it still would have been really hard
Yeah.
Yeah,
to remember their
And again,
names.
especially because this is the first movie, so you could say, okay, they could expand more on it later, but
How are they going to expand on 15 different
right,
characters?
exactly. If they
Yeah.
had like 8, like they did in the Lord of the Rings, then that makes more sense. But 15 is a lot, and
Yeah.
the only one that we already kind of know about is Gandalf, and we know Bilbo a little bit, but nowhere near enough, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and because like it has one of those things where like a moment at the end of the first movie here, where because Thorin throughout the movie is kind of said, "Oh, Bilbo's like lame and sucks and doesn't really want to help us or whatever," and then he like comes around at the end. But it seems like they're trying to build this like, oh, it's a big dramatic character turn, but it's like they didn't really do that much together,
Yeah.
and it's
I
like
think-
I don't really know why it feels like that exactly because they were the pretty much the two that were the most important there, but yet they just didn't really focus on them together. It was almost like the movie was treating everybody as like everyone is just one character, which is the party
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
character, right? Instead of like their own individual things.
I feel like if they were going to go with like the party is like one character, then they could have, to the chagrin of the hardcore fans, combined a couple of the characters to make like maybe 2 or 3 side characters who are part of the party, but they have like the distinct personalities of the other 12 dwarves. They could have done that, and it would have been easier to be like, okay, yeah, there's that dwarf who does this.
Even then, though, like some of the dwarves.
That wouldn't have solved everything either.
Well, yeah, because then you have something where, like, for example, I forgot his name. The white beard dwarf, the old guy. Like,
Yeah.
his job is basically like exposition.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of all he does, right? And so they kind of fit into like these fairly standard roles, even the ones that are kind of important. And there really isn't, like, honestly, there's really not too much character interaction going on.
No.
Like, I thought about
It's
there's
more of like they're traveling, then something happens to the whole group.
yeah,
Then they work together to get out, then they're traveling again, and then something else happens and stuff.
yeah. Like, for example, when I was thinking about this, especially for Fellowship, I'm like, how many like actual action scenes were there in Fellowship of the Ring? Not that many.
They're mostly
there
near
was-
the end.
I can think of when they're in Moria with like the trolls and like the Balrog and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the end when, the orcs attack like and kill Boromir, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. I feel like I'm missing like some. Oh, don't the Nazgul like attack them kind of earlier on?
I think so, yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like that's and again, this is in like a 4-hour movie almost, right? Where this is like a 2.5-hour movie, and there's like more than that in this movie. There's like the trolls who are trying to like eat them. They get attacked by the wolf things. There's the goblins in the cave. They get attacked by the orcs again. Like there's like it's kind of just like action. And then the thing is with each action, it's almost like they get in trouble and then something saves them.
Yeah.
Right? It's Gandalf like twice, and then like the eagles at the end, and the elves for the so it's kind of like it's kind of formulaic, and there really isn't too much time to really again have the characters do stuff together.
Yeah.
So
Oh my god, this reminds me of something that a lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this.
what?
This reminds me of Sailor Moon.
Oh, crush their dreams.
Oh, I think I
Formulaic, the unit, not knowing the characters that well.
Sailor Moon has far less characters though, while here it's kind of like
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but I'm saying like I can see a parallel.
Yeah.
It might just be because I don't like Sailor Moon, but
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think anything in this is bad. I'm just pointing out, like, there's stuff they could have done to make it better.
Mm.
That's how I see it. Because, again, like, the characters, as from they are,
I
they're
think my
fine, right?
favorite scene is when the parasites.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Yes, like, that was a pretty good...
Scene.
That was a pretty good moment of actual, like, character interaction, right?
Yeah.
We just wanted more of that, so... I like that, and I like the scene with Gollum.
Yeah, I like that too.
With the whole riddles and just kind of the personalities of that. Like for example, when I talk about like the effects and something like that, like Gollum does look better here
Yeah.
than he did in the other one. Like he still looked good before, but he does look better here, which makes sense because he was CGI then, CGI now. CGI has gotten better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the personality difference there, and yeah, I like that scene, and. Yeah, the only other I don't know how much I should say about something because again, that's related to future movies.
If it's later, you can hold off.
I
on it
guess.
for
Well,
now.
okay. What did you think about like the whole the thing with like the necromancer thing? Because like when I first saw this movie, I'm thinking like. That kind of came out of nowhere and then, like, didn't really matter.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought, what is his name? The guy at the end with the scar in his face, Azrog. I thought he was the necromancer when he first came in, and I was like, this doesn't look like what a necromancer would look like, is it?
No, that's not him.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of just came, and a portion of the movie was dedicated to it and everything, but then afterward...
Mm-hmm.
It's weird seeing Saruman not be evil, too.
Yeah. Yeah, see, well, again, it's one of those things where that plot line is picked up later, and it does link to something in Lord of the Rings. So that was kind of one of those added plot lines for that. But it does come off kind of weird because, again, it feels very isolated in this movie.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, it is kind of when it kind of just like stops the rest of the movie, and then this kind of plot shows up, and then it goes away, and then the rest of the movie continues for repeatedly throughout the rest of the movies. And it's like, I get what you're doing, but
you're not doing it like as you should.
Yeah, but again, the problem, and again,
Blending together.
I don't remember this that well, because again, I haven't seen this since we were in theaters, but I really don't think that plot line really does intersect, like, what the dwarves are doing.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So it's kind of a situation where it's like, you know, going back to the original idea of having a Hobbit movie and then a bridge movie, this would make sense as a totally separate movie.
Right.
So, like I don't know, but again, maybe if I see it again, I'm missing something or whatever. Actually, I did remember something that about how like Gandalf and Galadriel, like it almost seems like they kind of are like subtly hitting on each other.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah, no, 'cause I remember that was actually in the Lindsay Ellis's thing about how like she's getting like creeper vibes from them or whatever. But like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny just to think about. But yeah, actually, one thing that is kind of cool is that, you know, these are they're mostly the same actors, but they're doing these roles, you know, 10-ish years later.
Yeah.
But they do look the same, if not a little bit younger, which is kind of interesting, you know, just movie-wise how they do that.
Especially, you have to think about how the makeup and effects and everything went into that too.
Right. So that's
And
impressive.
it's just interesting.
But yeah, I feel like there isn't too much to say yet, just because
It's the introduction movie, so it
yeah,
makes sense.
because really, if you think about it, not that much has happened.
No,
Right.
especially on like the character front. Like
Yeah.
I like Bilbo much more than Frodo, but he kind of languishes in the party where the only other characters of importance that you can like name are Gandalf, who we know already,
Mm-hmm.
and then Thorin, who
Is
fine. I
Yeah.
don't really have much of an impression on him right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Nor do I, yeah.
So that's
But,
kind of how I
Gandalf
see.
is there, which is nice.
Yeah, Gandalf's still good. I kind of see this as like, okay, this movie's fine. It's a decent starting point, and again, if I was an outside observer and I had no context with future films, I would say this is a decent starting point. I'm curious to see where they go.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I would go from this. So, you know, from after Fellowship of the Ring, I was like, oh, I'm really into this. I'm not there, but I'm like, I could see it definitely getting really good, right? I just don't know yet. So, and again, I will say this, from what I remember seeing, I did like all three of the movies. Okay.
Okay.
So I know some people hate them. I'm not in that camp. I mean, maybe I'll see them again and fall into that. I don't think so. So yeah, and I do not remember also like from watching the. I cannot tell you like, oh, I liked this one the most. I have no idea. I don't remember. So, you know, maybe I do think they get better. I legitimately don't remember that. So yeah. So I guess we'll kind of all experience that going forward, but
Yeah.
it is at least nice that we're back into this as an ending for the year. So even if it's maybe not quite as good, but still like the idea.
Speaking of the end of the year, though.
Yes, 2012.
yeah.
We have to talk
Time for
about
the
2012.
wrap up. Well, the world didn't end, so that's good.
Nope. But so I guess we had a fun first third of the year, jumping all over the place.
One movie was where it was supposed to be, and the
I
others
know.
were not.
Yeah.
No.
So
Such as Iron Man, of which we watched the first Iron Man way back when.
I know. We watched. Wait, so Iron Man 2 was movie number 212, and I believe original Iron Man is movie number 32.
Oh my god.
So we literally watched it 180 videos ago.
Oh my god.
That's weird.
Yeah. I definitely like the first one for Iron Man 2 more. I think we all did. But so I thought Iron
Yeah.
Man 2 was kind of, because yeah, it had some weird things with it, but overall it was
It was
okay.
fine.
It wasn't bad for sure, but it was meanwhile,
32 was bad.
that was
Yeah.
weird and stupid, but whatever. Okay.
I actually kind of forgot what the whole purpose of that movie was, and then I remembered.
All I remember
All I
right now
remember-
is giant bees.
All I remember is PETA and
Oh, yeah.
then Gabriella were in that
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
And
Oh,
That was-
yeah. speaking of PETA, we had two Hunger
Two
Games
Hunger
movies
Games.
Oh,
back to
God.
back, and
Ugh.
that was painful.
Yeah, I stand by my statement that Catching Fire is the best one, quote unquote, but it's not like that much better. It's still just, they're all, I think all of them. I think all of them I have in the mixed category, but they're a little bit different in where they are mixed. I think the original and Catching Fire are like kind of middle, maybe slightly less in mixed, whereas Mockingjay is like the bottom of mixed. But
You guys know how I feel about
Yeah.
these movies.
We're well aware of how you feel about these films.
we at least get a break for a little bit, so it's good.
Which, from going from Iron Man 2, we go to the Avengers.
Yes, which I finally saw.
Yes.
After 5 ever.
I know. So, and yeah, it was good. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say about it.
Yep. It's the Avengers.
Speaking of movies that we finally got to saw,
Yes.
well, got to see.
The opposite.
Yes. Move over, Loki.
Dubois is coming for you.
Just Dubois is like the final villain for all the
Oh my
Avengers.
god.
We get to
I
Infinity
just
War
remember
and it's not Thanos,
seeing
it's just Dubois. Oh my god, I freaking love her like so much. Oh my god, okay. Okay.
It was quite a mood swing to get to the next movie, though.
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises was the thing. I kind of feel like I view Dark Knight Rises and like this, The Hobbit, as like kind of like at about the same level.
Mm.
Where like overall positive, but like there's just kind of some odd things that they don't
Yeah.
fully utilize.
Mm.
But yeah, definitely not bad by any means. So
Yeah.
Expendables 2, I already forgot it.
I don't remember it that much.
Arnold was in it, and Chuck Norris was
moving
in
on.
it,
Moving on.
and that's it, I guess.
Yeah.
Hotel Transylvania was fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Surprised it wasn't in October.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I meant to say something during the discussion for that, and I forgot. The the director for it is, I'm gonna mispronounce his name. Gendy Tartakovsky.
Mm.
He's the dude who made Samurai Jack.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Yeah. And some other stuff that I can't remember. But yeah, I know that was one of them. So, and I was, because
What?
Samurai Jack, it's probably also Powerpuff Girls, right?
I think so. But, I mean, I can look it up. But, yeah, so that was something I meant to say. Because I remember we talked about how, like, the animation was, like, pretty good for, like, what they were going for. Like, the quality
Yeah.
wasn't, like, amazing, but, like, for what they were doing, it worked pretty well. And so that, I think, is part of the reason for that. And then...
Oh yeah, he did do the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, okay.
Oh, he storyboarded
Oh.
Iron Man 2.
That was weird, yeah. But, yeah, he did...
Wait, how do you storyboard a live action movie?
He just kind of just...
Oh, I guess for the
Choreography?
effects and everything.
Yeah. Oh, wait, he did some... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, he did the 2D Clone Wars show. I forgot
Oh.
about that.
Oh, no wonder it turned out, like, better than Sony had ever put out.
Yeah.
This guy's a cartoon legend.
Yeah. So, that was something I meant to mention, but I forgot in the moment.
Oh, he did Dexter's Laboratory too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they have the same style as Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. So... Yeah, so there's that. So, that definitely bleeds into that, makes it pretty decent. Taken 2 happened.
It was dumb.
Yeah. And then Skyfall happened, which was
Skyfall.
noticeably better. So,
Yes.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
dumb.
and then
Even
there
though
was...
they use the same rooftops.
Oh, yeah.
It's much better.
They
That
won
was so
up
funny.
Taken.
Yeah. And then there was this, which was also decent. So,
Not looking forward to the start of the next year.
I don't know. Like, I kind
Oh,
of want to see it just to experience how almost certainly terrible it's going to be. But before we get, well, honestly though, despite some movies this year that are, infamous, in 2012, like, overall this was a pretty good year though.
Yeah.
Because
I
even
like all the movies,
again,
yeah.
like the bad movies of 2012, they were, I mean, maybe,
Forgettable.
yeah, well, maybe Maya would disagree a little bit, but like I wouldn't say the worst of this year compared to the worst of other years is pretty damn
Not that
good.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, during my ranking stuff, I was looking, like, what's the worst movie for every year? And, like, I definitely would have, several at the very bottom, but, like, a lot pretty close to that. And then there were, like, a few higher ones. And then, I forgot what year it was. I think it might have been 2010. Yeah, it was 2010 where my lowest film on that was, like, actually, like, comparatively pretty high.
Oh.
And I feel like this is a similar thing, because, I don't know, what's the worst film of this year? It's actually kind of hard to say.
Yeah, don't ask me. Maybe Taken 2? If you guys...
I'd say
or
it's
maybe
between,
Journey 2?
It's between Journey 2, Expendables 2, and Taken 2.
All
All
the
the two.
twos.
Yeah.
Well, except Iron
Except
Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Yeah. And then
And-
I don't remember, actually, between those. I think... Which one I have lowest? I honestly don't remember. But, and so again, are those, like, they're not that bad, right? And there was, like, legitimately good stuff again, like Avengers, Madagascar 3, Skyfall, those are all, like, good movies, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a decent amount of alright movies, So, yeah, I think overall, if I would average this out, it'd be a pretty solid year. So, that's good at least. Next year, I don't know.
I'm frightened.
The first two are not looking good.
There are
No.
several, like, titles here that I don't even recognize.
I recognize at least a core concept, all of them, but
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. Well, there are a couple sequels to things we have seen, both good things we have seen and not so good things we have seen. There's
a movie that we know Valen is not looking forward to.
However, there's also a movie that is, in terms of, again, all the movies on the list, was tied with Ratatouille for the highest Metacritic score.
Oh.
So that's this year. And then there's a few other movies that I think are, at least there's another movie on here that both of you probably don't know about, that I have seen, that from what I remember was alright.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
There is another movie that I actually kind of want to see, but I don't know how good it actually is. So I see this year as maybe kind of being pretty similar to 2012. Maybe a little bit worse, just because I think the first two movies will probably bring the average down. But I feel it's overall probably going to be pretty similar, where there's, like, a couple good movies but a decent number of alright movies and a decent number of just kind of movies. So I'm not, like, scared. So I'm scared. Okay, I'm scared for the first two, but after that, not really. So that's something, I guess. But yeah. So I guess that's that for this. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess we will see you next time for 2013.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.